Well, happy early Easter from Dr. Von Mad and Kid Mad at Catapult Time. Today we're going to be building a very unusual type of catapult, and honestly it's going to be one with a slightly higher skill level. Now I tried building it last night, but I've had some issues with my camera, so we're going to see if we can get this thing done tonight. Alright. Camera's trying to move. There we go. Alright, you'll see this one right here has got a central pivot right here made from a wooden spool. Alright, when you pull that back, see, and it launches like that, and that's because you have this rubber band right here holding onto this frame, and you got another one here that acts as a brake. This rolls, and since it's not got a way of continuing to roll, it'll stop here, and therefore changing your acceleration here. Now, we do have another attachment for it that can be attached merely by sliding the rubber band off. And you see, that'll fit right in like this, and it has a beam sling so you can throw different types of projectiles. Interchangeable parts. You gotta love it. Now, what you're gonna need to build this one, because it's got quite a varied bill of fare on it. You're gonna need this one giant popsicle stick. You're gonna need a super jumbo. You're gonna need 4 of these standards here. You're gonna need 2 skinny sticks, about 3 of these tongue depressors, 2 or 3 rubber bands, a bottle cap, a dowel rod, a pair of scissors. This is going to be this is your crucial component. Now you can get these at Hobby Lobby. It's a big wooden spool. That's going to be your central mechanism on this thing. That's the reason that's what makes it go. And you're going for tools. You're going to need the glue gun, the scissors, and the drill. Now the drill is what we're going to attend to first, because this is the heart of this whole operation. Kids, if you decide to build one of these, you might want to get a grown-up. Let me see if I've got a...
And if you have a grown-up with you, then the grown-up's permission for.
Yeah.
And a grown-up with you.
Ah, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, and a Sharpie. I'll show you what that's for. Alright.
Oh,
if you'll notice...
You're doing your dots.
Yeah, so see, here's what we got.
So you know what to drill.
Yep. Okay, see how this angle is? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your angle down pat. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark right there. And then you're going to lay this down like this and figure out where you want your launch arm, and we're going to put the dot right there. I don't usually measure, but today we're measuring. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to drill this out. Be very careful. You're drilling on a rounded surface, so you might want to be very careful. And ready, set, fire in the hole. Now, if your hole's not big enough, which this one here's probably not, you're going to want to kind of stick it in there and then just kind of do this. Now you're going
to go too deep.
Yeah, and well, really, the deeper the better on this one. Now you're going to do the same thing with the other hole right here.
Too deep because you don't want to go through your surface weight.
Yeah. Well, you got a hole in the middle of it. It's going to stop it. But anyway, your next step is to edge this camera up so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take this dowel rod and we're going to cut it in half. Now, half of this is going to be this piece that's coming down here that's holding your band on it, and the other piece is going to be the base for your launch arm. So here's how we're going to do that now. I'm going to grab my glue gun, and we're going to drizzle a little glue into that hole, and we're going to stick this into the spot. And if you have to, you may have to go and get yourself one of these little dudes, a handy dandy wooden mallet. But if you've drilled it pretty decent, you won't have this problem. Now, your next step is going to be to hook this into place. Now, what I would do, now there's another way to do this. If you have a knife, you could whittle it down a little bit, but you won't have it as holding as well. In other news, by the way, guys, Kid Mad was at a Easter egg hunt this morning, and she won the golden egg, guys. So everybody send Kid Mad some congratulations. Ain't that right, Kid Mad? Alright, see there you got the basis for your launch arm. Now, your next step is going to take one of these right here. Now you're going to glue that right in place here. So you're going to roll that backwards like so. And you're going to put just a line of glue along here. And you're going to glue your launch arm into place like so. Now you're going to flip this over. Bring this down here where you can see what I'm doing. This is where your skinny sticks come in. We're going to...
From the Easter egg hunt thing that Daddy was telling you, I got chalk.
Yep, she got some sidewalk chalk, and we will be looking at that in a little bit. Right now, what we're going to do, though, is we're assembling this launch arm for this catapult. So, but we've got quite a few videos to make today. Alright, see, now you got the basis for this. Now, if your arm is leaning a little bit like that, see, there you go. Now, you're going to take your bottle cap, and you're going to glue it into place. Right. Hang on. Okay. Wanted to make sure our video camera was filming. You know, we've had problems with this in the past. Alright, now, so there's your basic frame. Now, we're going to build the chassis for this. Now, for that, you're going to start with this giant stick and this super jumbo, and you see I got a nice pretty red one. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this down through there. We're going to glue this into place. Now, this is your railing. We'll show you what that's for in just a minute. Because basically what you're wanting to do at this point is to make sure you have a firm base by which to attach for that tongue to slide down into. Kind of a nice little groove. For this, now you're going to grab the standard popsicle stick, and it's going to glue into place right here on this side, and another one into place on this side. Then we're going to do that again because you got 4 of these in here, because you need enough room to make sure that you're going to be able to keep this arm from sliding around, because that'll actually throw your aim off and possibly even break your machine if you're not careful. So we're going to put this piece here onto right here, so this railing, and that's, like I said, that's going to be for your groove. I'll show you how that fits on here in just a second. Alright.
I am still?
Yep, and she is still here. Now see, when you hook this in place, it'll fall right in right here. Now,
if that was glued, then
that is glued.
No, right. As in, if the little bar thing was glued, then
Hold on.
What it would do with it would
Alright, your next step is to take...
down.
Okay. Your next step is to glue these feet onto it. Now, that'll give it some structural stability. See, like so. Now, what you're going to do now, I'll show you how to interchange it. If you guys decide you want to see the beam sling to see a tutorial on the beam sling, let me know in the comments. I will show you a demonstration of it here in a few minutes. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to attach the final arm to this thing. Now, this is where this comes in. Your arm's going to fit in like this, right at the edge of the rails. See? Like that. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take this unit here. Let me pick this up where you can see it. You're going to slide this over the end of it. This over like this. Right? And then you're going to slide this over like so. Now, what that's going to do is hold your arm in place while we put the torsion bands onto it. Now, your torsion bands, where you put them at, can determine exactly how much power this thing's going to have. So if you really wanted a more powerful one, you'll want to put it right up here at the front and double it up. If you don't want it so tight, you still want to double it up, but you want to push it up on this tongue a little piece. See, right here. So when you fire it, it will. See, and that's just kind of giving just the bare amount of torque. And there you are. Now, just checking my camera here. See, now when you fire it, now you can put more bands onto it like I'm about to, because I've got some fairly weak bands on it. So I'm gonna put one more band on it and tighten it up here on this end, or up through the middle of it rather, kind of strengthen it up. So I've got about 3 or 4 bands on it. When I tell you how many bands to use, it's not usually the same amount. And hang on. Apparently I need to glue this a little bit more secure. This arm's trying to come loose. So we'll be right back, and I'll show you exactly what I had to do to fix that. If you have a band if you have an arm that's trying to come loose, you may have to secure it a little better. So we'll be back in just a minute. Alright, we're back for a minute. I figured out what I've done wrong. Apparently this, I'll show you what happened here. Apparently I did not have this arm in there as deep as I was supposed to have had, and this little flange was not enough to keep it in place. So we're going to have to rebuild the arm. We're going to change up the ingredients list because I am out of skinny sticks, I think. Let me see if I've got any more over here in my parts bin. I may have to change it up a little bit, which is alright. Skinny sticks are hard to come by. Alright. New plan for the arm. We're going to grab first thing we're going to do is get this loose. Get the arm loose over here, and we're going to redo this thing because it's going to have to be pounded in a little bit deeper because apparently I did not have it in deep enough. Like I said, you have this little tiny flange right here that was not enough. It's kind of stubby and it didn't do what it's supposed to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to redo this arm. So don't pay attention to the first part of the arm. We're going to do it this way from here on. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue in. We're going to push this in, but we're going to push it all the way in. At least as much as I can get it in there. Now, if you have a hammer, like I now have in my hand, we're going to pound this dude in there as hard as we can get it. Let's see if I can get you where you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. See if I've got it through. I'll make sure it does not move this time. There we go. Now that's more secure. Now, what you're going to need now is a wide tongue depressor stick, because we're going to have to rebuild this arm to new specs. Sorry about that, folks. I don't do that very often, but in this case it's kind of necessary. We're going to put a new arm on it, because apparently somewhere down the line I had, in hurry to get this thing done, had somehow not put that stick in there far enough. Alright, we're back. We're going to try this again. We had another mishap. I don't know why. I'm having a great deal of misfortune today. The arm broke when I tried to assemble it, so we're going to have to rebuild the arm for the third time. I don't know why I had this much trouble. I guess Mad's Law is coming back to haunt me again. So here goes nothing. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get somewhere. There we go. Now, let's make sure this arm's in there good. I may have a bit of an angle. There we go. Now, we're going to redo this arm. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab a tongue depressor, and we're going to hot glue that onto right in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this arm here. It's definitely proof of one thing. I heard a guy once say that catastrophic failure will find the weakest part on anything and smash it to bits. I'm going to add to that that goes double when you're putting it on camera. The minute it's on camera, this thing decides that it's going to go along with W.C. Fields. Never mess with children or dogs when you're never performing with children or animals. There we go. Now, I think my arm's a little bit leany, but we'll see how this works. Alright, now, we're going to try to see if we can scavenge this bottle cap off of the other one. Yes, we can. Now, we're going to try this again. It's being a bit of a problem child today. There we are. Now, I'm probably looking at another catastrophic failure, but we're going to try it again. If it is, well, it is. Let's see what happens. We're going to try to assemble it and see what we get. See what I get for my efforts. Alright. There's your arm. Something tells me catastrophic failure is going to, and this is a good lesson right here in entropy, it's going to snap right there. That weak place on the dowel rod. That's what I'm willing to bet on. So we're going to find out. So let's see what happens and see what happens here. I have a feeling there is going to be your weak point. Now, if you've got too much stress on it, you might want to do it like that and just kind of pull it back a little piece. And we actually got it this time, so hallelujah for that. Now, we've already done a range test for the bucket version of this. Now, if you're a little still worried about this piece right here being a bit of a weak point, what I would do if I were you would be to unstring it like so. Grab yourself grab yourself a tongue depressor like so, and move this up here where you can see what I'm doing. We're going to cut this down here on this side. We're going to cut this side down here on this side. And we're going to cut it down a little bit more because what we're trying to do is even this up to where it'll fit right in here. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to glue it directly right here because that way it'll give it some structural stability. See, we're going to slide this into place and just kind of strengthen that arm. You got to remember, catapulting like this is not an exact science. Now we're going to let that dry a minute, and we will be back with you after I change out the arm. I'll go ahead and change out the arm since we're over here on camera, and we will assemble the new arm because you've already seen the bucket in use. So the beam sling slides in like so, and then like so, and there you are. The beam sling is now in place, ready to fire. So we're going to do a range test of the beam sling, and we will be back in a few minutes. final analysis is that this machine's got a very unique look to it. It's got a very unique design. See, basically your pivot point's like that. And you have to worry about that, so you don't want to draw it back too far. And naturally, it's going to invoke Mad's law. Now, if you have a problem with this thing jumping off its railing, you could always put another piece of popsicle stick right here, or put another loose band up here, or move this down a little bit and not have it quite so tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that down just a little bit. You're not going to be able to have as much draw weight doing that, but it'll be guaranteed to keep it in place. It's got a very unique look to it, as you can see. Let me move this around where you're not blinding you. But it's got a very unique look, as you can see here. Not many catapults look like this, and this pivot design means that it's also easy to change out arms. Like I said, I've got a beam sling arm for it. I will tell you that it'd be better to use outside. The range on this thing, if you pull it back all the way, it's going to be fairly hefty. During the range test, to see that barrier right there, it was shooting way over past it. So, you have to be, if you're going to fire it at close range like that, you just barely want to draw it back, just like that, and no more than that, or maybe like that. You can see it's got some recoil. The whole reason that this works is this band back here is keeping the arm in place so it's not slinging all over, and this is your power supply. So, my assessment, use it outside, but definitely build it. It's a fun catapult. It's a fairly big one. And this is Dr. Von Mad. If you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'd be glad to have you. And we'll see you on the flip side, dear viewer. And thanks for watching.